Hey guys, this is Nephis here. It's time to Nephis and chill, and these are the final PTS patch notes before we get the Dragonhold DLC. And I believe 2 weeks after the 21st of October, console players on both PS4 and Xbox will get it. I think that's like the typical pattern. So the Dragonhold DLC PTS patch notes have been very somewhat contentious, I guess would be the minimum word to describe it. And there have been a lot of feedback regarding dots. Just a brief recap: dots were nerfed down from 2.5 times the amount, 5 times the amount or damage of a spammable to 1.25 times the amount of a spammable, which was a huge nerf. So dots are pretty useless, and now they rebuffed it back up a little bit to about 1.5 times the amount of a spammable. And for the most part, basically, if you're a DPS for PvE, it's more worth running more direct damage abilities. So what that means is, I think typically longer dot durations will win out, and just gives you more room for doing direct damage abilities. So you would probably do like Endless Hail or longer duration morphs of certain damage over time abilities to get more direct damage abilities in. So that's kind of I think that's gonna be the makeup of the PvE DPS. We got a lot of interesting class changes too, particularly with the Warden. The Warden for PvE is gonna look pretty fantastic in my opinion. And there was of course the Stone Fist meme with the Dragon Knight. So we'll see what the last week's PTS patch notes have in store for us. I know a lot of people are also worried about sustain, so let's get into it. Final PTS patch notes. Okay, looks like they have some fixes and improvements for what is it, Dragonhold, Elzer, and Murkmire. Alright. Nothing really combat related yet. Quests. Again, whatever. Murkmire. Black Rose Prison. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. The Derelict Prison Yard increased the health from Imperial Dread Knights. Okay, so it looks like they buffed the health of some elite adds in Black Rose Prison. Hall of Beasts. Increased the cast time for the Crocodile Sweep ability, making it easier to avoid. Increased the cast time for the Crushing Chomp ability and added the blockable telegraph to better indicate intended gameplay. Oh my god, I hope that they have this same fix for the last elite adds and the last arena. Alright. Decrease the total damage from the spider adds Venomous Spit ability with each stack. And reduce the maximum amount of stacks. Oh my goodness. Okay. Infusers can now be moved with movement abilities and stunned as normal monsters. All changes above apply to monsters summoned in this area as well. Looks like they're gonna make Black Rose Prison a bit more easier. So infusers are elite adds you cannot chain in as a Dragon Knight tank or stun. You can interrupt their special abilities, but you can't really stun them or move them, except with range taunting them and moving with distance. So it looks like they're making a few parts of Black Rose Prison a bit easier. I'm not exactly sure what this is referring to. So in the Mess Hall of Misery, all changes above apply to monsters summoned in this area as well. So I'm guessing they're referring to the crocodiles also spawning in this arena. This is the arena where you have to fight the 3 previous bosses in succession on the final round. And infusers can also... Okay, I get it. Looks like they didn't really have any fixes for the last arena of Black Rose Prison though. So hopefully that sees something. Alright, so the juicy part. Combat and gameplay. Combat and abilities. Fixed numerous issues where passives pertaining to sprint speed or cost would not update properly when meeting or failing your conditions without relogging and rezoning, okay? This basically fix an issue where damage type status effective damage cost to targets would fail to apply if they had damage shield active. Interesting. Let's see. Fix an issue where you could sprint as a ghost after resurrecting with the soul gem under very specific circumstances. Fix an issue where you could retain the initial boost of speed granted from activating sprint. Alright, now we're going to get to classes, and this is probably the most important part because class identity has been raised as a huge issue. Ardent Flame, Searing Strike, Venomous Claw morph increased the ramping bonus damage per tick of this morph to 20% up from 12% at max rank. Alright, that's a pretty interesting one. Earthen Heart, Stone Fist, updated the visual effects for this ability and the Stone Giant morph. As noted in the last week's PTS patch, we'll continue working on this ability's visual and gameplay elements for a future update. I'll get on the PTS in a separate video, and I guess we'll take a look at that together. Nightblade Assassination, Teleport Strike, updated duration of the minor vulnerability for this ability to 10 seconds to match its morph's duration. So, for those of you who do follow me on YouTube, I made a video like a couple weeks ago or something, basically kind of theory crafting, but also looking at the Fetcher Swarm and the Swarm morphs of the Warden skill. Basically, Wardens can now apply minor vulnerability really easily in that range. Doesn't matter if you're Warden Healer, Warden DPS, Stam, or Mag, or even the Warden Tank. The Warden class has essentially replaced the Infallible Aether set, which is a set that has been a mandatory set for at least one healer to run for quite a while now. For a really long time in PvE, and especially in trials, even in 4-man content. And it seems a lot of people on that video also made the comments, "Oh, don't you know about Nightblades? Don't you think Nightblade tanks or whatever will do it?" I'm like, well, Teleport Strike requires you to gap close, and there will be certain instances where you probably won't be able to be reliably Teleport Strike to apply minor vulnerability, especially as a healer or and stuff. And I know it's AoE as well, so we could see some interesting applications of this skill. But I think the Warden overall will be the better class to utilize minor vulnerability on more consistently for like a really high uptime, 100% uptime or whatever, on the boss fight or whatever. But the Teleport Strike might be pretty interesting to see for things like Veteran Sanctum Ophidia. But anyway, pretty interesting that they mentioned this as well and raised it up to 10 seconds, which is the duration of Infallible Aether set. And also the new duration of the minor vulnerability on Swarm. Grim Focus, increased the base duration of this ability and its morphs to 40 seconds, up from 20 seconds. Okay. Remove the oh, okay. Wow. Remove the minimum travel time of the bow prop from these abilities since they are slower than other projectiles, such as crystal fragments or snipe. This was a pretty huge point that a lot of people kept sending to the class reps. I kept seeing it over and over, especially from PvPers. Hey, you know, the bow travel time is like really slow or seemingly slow. Can they speed it up or something? I think this is an attempt to kind of address that. They are slower than other projectiles, so we're going to remove the minimum travel time. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see in PvP. Kind of really curious how it's going to pan out. But the increase of the base duration of the ability of Grim Focus to 40 seconds after 20 seconds, that basically means as you light attack, weave, and stuff like that, you get more bows out of a single cast of Grim Focus. So that's a pretty interesting move. Relentless Focus, the Stamina morph, because Merciless Resolve is, I believe, the Magicka morph. This morph now lasts 60 seconds at rank 4 instead of 30 seconds. Wow, an entire minute. It's going to be pretty interesting. I think this is going to be pretty interesting. Alright, well, Path of Darkness, Twisting Path. This morph once again uses the same scaling coefficient as the other morph. Refreshing Path. This will result in an approximately 132% damage increase. It's actually, I think, a good change, in my opinion. Twisting Path, I think since... was it? I mean, they kept nerfing it steadily. I don't know, like even before the standardization. So I think this was a good change, and I guess this will kind of maybe bring back these changes. Will bring back the Nightblade class back into raid compositions. Besides being a Nightblade tank for trials or whatever, but it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this pans out. Because for sure, increase the duration of Grim Focus, Relentless Focus, whatever, is pretty significant. This allows, this is going to be much easier in rotation as a DPS, as a Magic or Stamina Nightblade DPS. Sorcerer, Daedric Summoning, Daedric Curse, Daedric Prey, reduce the bonus damage. That's hilarious. They like, alright guys, I'm gonna nerf pets. Oh, never mind, I'm gonna buff pets. Never mind, it's too strong, I'm gonna nerf point. Oh my god, alright. Well, okay. Bound Armor. Bound Armaments. Updated the sound effects for summoning bound daggers with this ability. This was also a point race to the class rep stat. It looks cool. It kind of feels cool. But the sound effects are meh. So it's good to see they're still working on this skill and other skills. Fixed an issue where poisons cannot be consumed under circumstances. Okay. And then item sets. Alright, here's one. Sentinel Rakugans. Reduce the amount of stamina restored from this set to 115 per second, down from 500. This set also now returns magic per tick. I have some mixed feelings about this. I think 115 per second is a little too low, especially in a patch where sustain has been nerfed, but the fact that it also returns magic per tick is also good. I'm not exactly sure why they had to touch this. It's, I guess, maybe in their eyes it was too powerful of a set for sustain, or that maybe it was over budget because it provided both sustain and healing, but the healing isn't really, the healing part of this monster set is like the secondary effect for a lot of healers. We don't, healers in PvE, when we need healing done, we don't use Sentinel, we use Bogdan, right? So I feel like the reduction of sustain restored is a bit too much, but I can kind of see where they're coming from, but at the same time, maybe it raised a little bit more up. 500, probably a bit too much. Maybe half of that would have been a good start, but 115 per second, I don't know. But the fact that it also now returns magic per tick, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool change. And they did a similar change for the Master's Resto Staff. It went from 740 stamina back per tick of the initial tick of Grand Healing to like 4 seconds of Grand Healing, applying 110 magic and stamina back every second for 4 seconds. So I think we're going to probably see for sustain a lot of healers and trials use both Sentinel and Master's Resto for really non-healing intensive fights. There aren't that I don't think there are too many healing intensive fights outside the Sunspire and maybe a few fights in Halls of Fabrication and Cloud Rest, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a pretty interesting change. We'll see how it pans out. Monsters fixed an issue where large monsters would slide instead of animate. Okay. Nightblade fixed an issue where NPC Nightblades would. Oh, that's an issue? I thought that was like intended. It was pretty annoying in Dragonstar Arena. I don't really know where else it was really annoying, but I thought that was always intended. Huh. Okay. Defender fixed an issue where Power Bash applied a disorient instead of a stun. Okay. Furnishings. 30-second wait time between logins from the same account to fix the variety of data. I think this is pretty important actually. Fix a variety of data corruption issues that could affect characters. What? Oh, okay. So it won't. Okay. Oof. Glad I kept reading, dude. I was about to flip out. I have to wait 30 seconds after a real. Okay, so this will not have any impact on swapping characters. Holy shit. Alright. Fix an issue or quest. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty annoying. But this is for the New Life Festival. Fix an issue in the Crown Store where keybind text could overlap. Okay, gamepad mode. Come on, guys. Use a mouse and keyboard. Guilds and guild functionality. An alert will now display when you're promoting the moon in guild. I'm pretty sure that's already in effect, unless it's like not. It's in the upper right when it happens of your screen, but maybe they want a new box or something, a dialog box to open up. Fixed an issue where declined revoked guild invites would display an alert saying the player left the guild. Okay, so these are the last patch notes. Everything else is gonna stay, I guess. I mean, they have changed things upon launch of DLCs or expansions in the past. But there are still a few issues that will be brought up probably going into Dragonhold. So, I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks for reviewing the patch notes with me. There isn't much more to say. If you're interested in what else they're changing, check out my other PTS videos from 5.2.3 and 5.2.0, because 5.2.2 and 5.2.3 didn't really have much. Or was it 5.2.1? Sorry. Anyway, thanks guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for the follows and watching me on Twitch. There's going to be a special announcement coming up here pretty soon regarding what I'm going to do with and for the Elder Scrolls Online community. So keep an eye out on that. And I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe and have fun.